Greetings, kindred. Welcome to the LilyofVallie Telegram live stream with special guest Bro.Rick. And we're doing a Bible study every Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Telegram. And we're in the book of Genesis, still in chapter 1, Bro.Rick. We're not getting too far, are we?
Oh, we're going to have to crank it up if we're ever going to get through with it after 40,000 years here. So we've been gone, how many weeks, and we're still in only on verse 20. But anyway, maybe we'll get it sped up there a little bit.
Yeah, I think we ended on the 4th day, so now we're beginning to get into the 5th day. But there's a lot here that we need to cover. Incidentally, I just wanted to mention we're using the Companion Bible by Bullinger, who does the commentary. And he has this structure throughout the whole Bible, which is really unique. And I just noticed on the left-hand margin, if you look down at the bottom, you'll see a date, 4004. That's his timeline. So he's suggesting that right now in Genesis 1, we're at the year 4004 BC. But Rick, I think you said that you thought that might be a little bit off. I don't know.
I think it's probably off myself, but he's getting that. If I'm not mistaken, in his Appendix 50, or it's right in there somewheres, he has a complete timeline drawn out for you, and so the timeline goes through the entire thousands of years, and he's marking it as he goes for various major events that are described in your scriptures and such. So it's not too far off. I mean, it's not like it's that big of an issue. But if I'm not mistaken, he's going right along with. There was a particular, I don't remember his name, but there was a particular fellow that did the timeline out of, I think it was out of England, and I think it was with the Anglican Church, I think. But he did a timeline that tracks it back to like 4004 and such. So I think he's pretty much following pretty close to that.
Yeah, he has these charts under Appendix 30 where, it shows the timelines and everything. It's pretty interesting in case you want to get an idea of when this all occurred. And we certainly believe that it did occur, that this is a historical document.
Yes, I don't know if some of you may have saw I uploaded a little short video the other night of a timeline chart that I have, and it follows his ideas pretty close. Not necessarily the same one. It's was he actually looking at each other's, let's say, but both of them I think were fashioned after the individual I was talking about. But I just don't remember his name, Reverend something or whatever from I think it was an Anglican, I thought, but I may have it wrong. But there is a particular historian, religious individual connected with one of the churches that is pretty well famous, known for the timeline he developed. And I think basically they're sticking pretty close to that particular timeline.
Okay, great. Yes, and then you'll also see some italicized letters like C, B, and A, and that relates to the structure up here. If you notice the structure, chapter 1 through chapter 2, where it has the heavens and the earth, which are now, and you'll see the A, B, and C, and that's what these numbers or letters over here on the side represent. So it's pretty cool. Anyway, let's get started. We're on chapter 1, verse 20. And Yahweh said, "Let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that hath life, and fowl that may fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven." Okay, let's see.
Now remember, he made a comment about the firmament in the I think it was out of verse 15. And he referenced that, and let's see. No, it was my Dakes study annotated Bible that did that. Let me see if I can find it again to read it.
Okay.
Yeah. Was you going to comment on something there? You
no,
scrolling up?
There's no commentary.
Okay.
For 15. I was just showing the verse though.
All right.
And looking at the commentary for verse 20.
Well, he didn't. I don't see it here for some reason. He did comment that the basically you're talking about the firmament being the atmosphere uh, that surrounds the earth in essence, and there's where your birds are flying and etc. So that was his context for that statement there in verse 20. That is basically the firmament of heaven was actually the atmosphere surrounding the earth in essence.
Okay.
Let's see now.
Well,
He
in the
does this one does
go
this
ahead.
one does make well he does make a little bit of a comment on the word moving creature, and he says that is sherets, and it basically means swarming or creeping things. And he lists a host of passages where it's used, and then of course he mentions that hath life in that translation on verse 20 is related to nephesh, the soul. And he translates it basically the feelings or passions, desires, and appetites of any living thing.
Okay, so with regard to nephesh, which is a Hebrew word, translated as from the word creature, he gives a couple of he gives a couple of verses that relate to that passage. Verses Genesis 1:21, 24, and 30. Do you
Mm-hmm.
have those? Can you read them, or do you want me to
Yeah,
read
it
them?
says 21 is and Yahweh created great whales and every living creature that moveth, which the waters brought forth abundantly after their kind. Keep that in mind as we eventually get into some of the we'll say men and also some of the beasts of the field. They're supposed to bring forth after their kind, not just anything. And every winged fowl after his kind. And Yahweh saw that it was good. Verse 24, and Yahweh said, let the earth bring forth the living creature. That's what he's pointing at, living creature here, I believe, after his kind, uh, cattle and creeping things and beasts and of the beast of the earth after his kind, and it was so. So when you just start you get in this beast of the earth thing, and you start finding that there are references in your Bible where it's talking about beasts of the earth able to talk and hold jobs and have houses and such. Now you need to start thinking a little bit different than what the mindset normally would commonly think of. In our day and age, at least, as applied to a beast of the earth. So, but there is one thing important why he's referencing these passages is because it's basically the quote unquote soul or the breath of life was in these creatures, these created things. Uh, that's what it appears to be referencing. Now, he also references verse 30 again for this word, and to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life. There you go, right there. That's probably dealing with nephesh right there, the breath of life. Uh, I have given every green herb for meat, and it was so. Then he references 2:7, and Yahweh formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. There you go. Uh, and then he referenced also 2:19. 2:19, and out of the ground Yahweh formed every beast of the field and every fowl of the air and brought them unto Adam to see what he would call them. And whatsoever Adam called every living creature, that was the name of thereof. That was the name thereof. So Adam's in here naming every critter that had been created. And then he references 9:4 and a host of passages here. Let's see.
Well, it looks like he has 5 twice. I don't know if he meant 6, but you've got 5 in
Okay.
there twice.
Okay. Let's see. Um, these are words that are related to that term nephesh. Uh, but flesh with the life thereof, which is the blood thereof, shall ye not eat. And then verse 5, and surely your blood and your lives will I require. At the hand of every beast will I require it, and at the hand of man, and at the hand of every man's brother will I require the life of man. There's your death penalty, I would suggest.
Yeah.
9:10. And with every living creature that is with you, of the fowl, of the cattle, and of every beast of the earth with you, from all that go out of the ark, and every beast of the earth. So keep in mind what we're really focusing on here is that it's the usage of this term nephesh. It is being used in these various passages. And Yahweh said, "This is the token of the covenant which I make between me and you and every living creature that is with you for perpetual generations." Verse 15, "And I will remember my covenant, which is between me and you and every living creature," there it is again probably, "of all flesh, and the waters shall no more become a flood to destroy all flesh." And then verse 16, he says, "And the bow shall be in the cloud, and I will look upon it, that I may remember the everlasting covenant between Yahweh and every living creature of all flesh that is upon the earth."
Yeah, I have a quick question before we finish and get into Leviticus. But it says here that he has a covenant with the nephesh. I thought the covenant was only with Abraham, but what covenant is this that they're talking about? Any idea?
Well, there are definitely other covenants. As a matter of fact, this commentary that I have here he goes through. I don't remember how many he lists. It's in the teens somewheres of
Okay.
the various covenants that are listed in your Bible. But there's more than one covenant. I mean, there's a Davidic covenant as well. There's an Abrahamic covenant, etc.
Okay.
So yeah,
Yeah, we'll
there's
be
different.
covering those when
Yeah,
we get to
well,
Genesis
okay.
9.
Yep.
But I just wanted to kind of roughly, establish that there is more than one covenant.
There is, and but overall, who's going to be understanding it, since this is the book of the race of Adam? So if the book is written
Yeah.
to the race of Adam, then ultimately the ones who are going to understand this message would be the Adamites, would be having to understand that. I mean, your dumb animal necessarily would not, knowing that Yahweh's working on a covenant based upon them. And basically what it is certain, uh, we'll say, contractual agreements with how things will be manifesting in this creation.
Gotcha. Okay, so
Okay. Verse 7, make the uh, New Testament uh, all give uh, when chapter 3 verse 19, he says over in 1 Timothy chapter 1 8 through 11, he tells you that the law is good if a man use it lawfully, and he goes on down and it tells you uh, that the law of Yahweh is still part of his covenant, that or his gospel that he teaches. Paul is telling you that, and he also tells you that that the law is what determines what sound doctrine is. So, well, what does the law determine on far as you eating swine's flesh or eating catfish or eating anything else that is the scriptures considers unclean? versus eating things that are specifically clean. So it's telling you, the law is definitely telling you, you need to still be making a difference in these things. Now, church world tells you otherwise. They misuse certain passages in Paul's writings and such too, but there's nothing contradictory in Paul's writings regarding the laws of Yahweh. He's still upholding all of them, as far as I can tell, when it comes to, like I said, the laws of Yahweh, not those things that were added because of transgression, but those things that were part of the law of Yahweh from the very beginning.
Exactly, I agree. Yeah, like he forbids us to eat swine, and how many people think, especially Christians, they think that eating swine is okay because Peter saw that blanket come down, and they said, "Oh, don't call anything unclean that
Well,
God has
that's the
made clean."
catch right there. Yeah, right
Yeah,
there. That what was the message that Peter says he learned from that? He said, "I was not to call any man
right,
common or unclean." That's the interpretation of the vision. And people want to turn it into say, "Oh, no, no, no! It says that every animal is clean now." That's not what it says at all. Matter of fact,
right,
Peter had said. By the way, this vision had taken place with Peter many, many years after the Messiah had already ascended. New covenant had already been kicked in, etc. So the things are flowing pretty normal. And years later, he gets this vision, and he says, "Not so. I have never eaten anything common or unclean." Now we can get into that when we get there, I guess. But there is a difference between common things and unclean things, folks. And he tells you right there.
yeah,
Now
and a
now
lot
it's
of
our responsibility to get in there and break it down.
these Christian churches, the what is it? You call it the harlots and abominations of the earth.
Yeah.
They try to say, oh, well, it says, "I shall call no man unclean," and that's the basis of their universalism.
That one of the problems there is the term that's being used. So, a passage will never refute all of the other passages in both the Old Testament and New Testament, where it is absolutely exclusive. So, beware of anyone who wants to just take a passage like that and twist to pervert it to justify absolute destruction. They would be automatically promoting the destruction of the white race with such teachings. Universalism is satanic doctrine. There's just absolutely no two ways about it. It's designed with the intent to destroy the chosen race, destroy the holy seed, destroy the elect race. That's what they want to do.
Right, and this and it permeates all of Christianity for the most part, which just proves the point that Christianity is satanic. But
It's
anyway, I
beyond doubt.
digress.
It's beyond doubt. They, as far as I'm concerned, they literally, according to the Bible, I believe they are worshiping Satan in disguise.
Yep. Yeah, we'll have to. I'll put a notation when I post this where they can find more information on that. So let's get into verse 21. And Yahweh created great whales and every living creature that moveth, which the waters brought forth abundantly after their kind, and every winged fowl after his kind. And Yahweh saw that it was good. Now this was a reference, I think you read it before because it's got that word creature, which again is the nephesh.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see if there's anything in the commentary. Yeah, it says compare verse 20 and Appendix 13. We didn't look at Appendix 13 before in the previous verse. I meant to do that, so let's look at that too. And then if you want to check out, okay, 13 is use of the word nephesh in the Old Testament. We won't read this whole thing, but you can look here on this chart. It's got nephesh, how it's interpreted several different ways, it looks like.
Oh, absolutely. It is all over the place. Let me see here. I've got it. Ways nephesh is used. Says soul. It's in there 457 times in a King James Version translation. A a breathing creature, a living organism, the invisible spiritual part of man. The word is used 754 times and is translated soul 419 times, souls 59 times, souls, S-O-U-L apostrophe S, one time, so like for your soul's sake or something like this, and the 275 other times used, it is translated by 44 different words and phrases. The Greek equivalent of nephesh is suke. So that's P-S-U-C-H-E, likely connected with our psyche. I'm not positive, but I bet it is. And he goes through just a host of ways this word is translated in relation to like lower animals or versus animals and man man as an individual being. And yeah, this word is used quite dramatically in different ways.
Yes,
Nephesh is.
I've seen where it's even translated as ghost or tablets, or I mean, it's there's no consistency here. It seems
It's rather
for this.
broad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very broad, and I think that's part of the nature of Hebrew because they didn't have a whole lot of words like we do in English, so they had to use one word for many different things.
Yeah, well, you have so you, if I'm not mistaken, you've got several thousand words in Hebrew. What is it? Comes up to about what 8,000 times or 8,000 different words in there, I think. I don't rightly remember now. Uh, so it turns out, if I'm not mistaken, there is only along the lines of about 5,000 or 6,000 English words, however.
Hmm, I
So, and
see.
that's the reason why you end up with in I'll just give you an example that I happen to know off the top of my head, and that is like Genesis 6:9. You have the word translated generations twice in there, but it's actually two different Hebrew words. It means two different
Hmm.
things. And so that's an example of where you might have 7,000 or 8,000 Hebrew words being used in your Bible, but then there's only 5,000 or 6,000 English words that's being used to translate it. So now, where does that come in? Why does that? Well, you wanted to make it readable as well. So I'm sure there's logical reasons as to why they would do such things too. But you just better be studying carefully uh, uh, these words and their sources, and yeah, be very careful.
Well, this Appendix 13, where it gets into the word nephesh, is very helpful, and he explains the different uses. And I encourage everybody to check that out.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's get back here. We were in verse 21, right?
Correct.
Okay, and so it references Genesis 1:20 that we just read before because it had that same word, creature, nephesh. Okay, so let's go to, whoops, I lost my screen sharing here. Hang on just a second, I'll get it right back. Okay, here we go. Verse 22, and Yahweh blessed them, saying, be fruitful and multiply and fill the waters in the seas and let fowl multiply in the earth.
Now, one thing about that there is that this is the first blessing mentioned, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see if I can find it. In this section of
Yeah,
scripture here.
Bullinger calls it a threefold blessing at
That
creation.
correct. He's got first blessing, three gifts from Yahweh. One, fruitfulness, Hebrew para, bear fruit, the power of procreation. He names off several passages. Number two is the blessing of multiplication, Hebrew rabah, R-A-B-A-H, to increase. And then the number three element of this blessing is occupancy of suitable places. Hebrew is mala, M-A-L-A, to replenish. There is there no doubt had been fish and fowl when Lucifer ruled, in reference to Jeremiah 4:23-26 passage, but they were destroyed because there was no sunlight during the flood of 1:2 of chapter 1 verse 2, Jeremiah 4:23-26. Therefore, Genesis 1:2 was a longer period than that of Noah's flood, which did not destroy sea creatures. I thought that was an interesting little tidbit of information.
Yeah, that is. And then in
That's why. That's the reason why you noticed up there that verse 21, and Yahweh created. These are not made; these are created.
what now? Explain the difference between made and created.
Well, made is.
Form.
I normally just say made represents a reestablishment of. Where when you're dealing with created, it's from scratch.
Is that like something new versus something that
I would
pre-existed?
say there was no element of it left, so it had to be recreated
I
if it
see.
ever existed before. Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay, and it says here in the commentary, it references 22, which we just read, and 28, and then Genesis 2:3. Do you want to look at those
Okay,
verses?
22. And Yahweh blessed them, saying, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters of the seas, and let fowl multiply in the earth. And then 28, and Yahweh blessed them, and Yahweh said unto them, be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. It's a major passage here. This is granting, well, we're not really there yet, so I guess I'll just skip, leave the details till we get down there. But yeah,
Okay.
that's a major passage. 128 is an extremely major passage as far as the subject matter is concerned.
Yeah, especially that dominion part. But so, like I said, we'll cover it here shortly. And he also references Genesis 2, verse 3, but it looks like I didn't put that in our outline. But just to cover it real quick, and it doesn't seem too relevant. It said, Yahweh blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which Yahweh created and made. I don't see how that's really relevant here.
Again, he has given you passages that have to deal with various terms that he's addressing. So these passages have to do, like we read all those that have to deal with nephesh a while ago, and in this case, what's the passage here? 22. And you said it
Yes.
referenced it. Okay, so note the threefold blessing of at creation. So he's given you those passages represent the part of that blessing. And what did you just read out of 2:3?
That it was the seventh day where he rested. So I can read it again. It's and Yahweh blessed the seventh day and sanctified it.
Okay, that's that he blessed.
Okay.
Blessed. That's why he's turned you to that passage. Blessed it.
Okay, blessed.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
All righty. So next verse 23, which is and the evening and the morning were the fifth day.
Okay.
And it says see on verse 5. So I'd have to scroll up to see what verse 5 says. Verse 5. And Yahweh called the light day, and the darkness he called night, and the evening and morning were the first day. But here we have the evening and morning of the fifth day. Okay, what is, I guess I'm a little confused over that.
I don't know why he turned you to that reference. However, I do have the 5 divine acts in day 5, if you would like for me to read them.
Okay, sure.
Okay, number 1 is Yahweh said. So a divine purpose stated. He's found it in verse 20. Then number 2 is Yahweh created, divine act. of bringing new living creatures into existence for the earth and man, verse 21. And then it is Yahweh saw divine inspection and satisfaction, verse 21. And then Yahweh blessed divine impartation of reproductive powers to fill the earth and waters, verse 22. And then Yahweh said divine commands for reproduction of fish and fowl, verse 22.
Okay, so that has to do with the blessing, I guess, that he's drawing us to the attention.
These are the 5 divine acts. Then within those acts was some blessings. Yes.
Okay. But it says here in verse 23, where it talks about the evening and the morning, where the 5th day, that kind of brings up Yahweh's calendar, because it's at evening, at sunset, when the day begins. And then that's where the next day ends at sunset.
Yeah, and so if you I don't know that this particular word, but it's yeah. So that word there is 5153. Now, interestingly, this relates to the same word or a similar word where we get the word Arabia or Arabs. And so this is like this particular form of it is defined as dusk. Well, what happens at dusk if not growing darker? And so that's why this word also has another element to it that basically means Arabia, and it also has other for example, the other word Arab. It means to commingle or mingled self. And then there's another variant of it that basically means one of mixed race type of thing. So this is why this word relates back to dusk, because it's growing dark. And he's pointing out that that's exactly what happens to people in the very next word. So that was 6153 in your Strongs. 6154, same spelling, same pronunciation, except it includes the meaning of also a mixture or mongrel race. Translated Arabia, mingled people, mixed multitude, woof, WOF. But again, we were talking about evening, the word evening there, and it means dusk. But it's the exact same spelling in essence. It just means dusk. So that what happens at dusk? Well, it grows darker.
Yeah, that's interesting. It also says here in the commentary that being this is the 5th day, that's the number of grace. And there was no blessing till the 5th day, when there was living soul to bless. It refers to Appendix 10. I'll just pull that up. The spiritual significance of numbers. And it says here under 5 denotes divine grace. It is Yahweh adding his gifts and blessings to the works of his hands. The Hebrew hareth, the earth, and gematria, i.e., the addition of the numerical value of the letters together, is a multiple of 4, while Hashemayim, am I pronouncing that right? The heavens, is a multiple of 5. Gematria of charis, the Greek for grace, is also a multiple of 5. It is the leading factor in the tabernacle measurements. That's pretty deep, Rick. I don't know what to make of all that. Can you shed any light on that?
I don't even know what he's talking about. Be upfront with
I don't either. Okay, well, let's
you. And
just
where
move
are you
on.
getting that?
I
Where
was
is that
getting
from?
that from Appendix, the spiritual significance of numbers, Appendix
Okay,
10.
so he's dealing with the number 5. So yeah, so
Right.
that's why he's pointing that out. Yeah, so there's what did he say on 5? Did he say anything about grace?
Yes,
Okay,
you should
yeah,
be able to see it there.
yeah, yeah. The number of grace. Yes, that's right. Number 5 is the number of grace. So unmerited favor uh, being bestowed, and in other words, we don't deserve it, but he bestows it anyway. So he's making a relation to these that number 5 and how it relates throughout Scripture. Yeah,
Yeah,
number
and he
5 is
has that,
definitely related to grace. Yeah.
and he has 4 plus 1, which I guess equals 5, which if you reverse that 1 plus 4, and you look at the word grace, you have G, genetics, plus race.
Well, he also has another book on the Book of Numbers. Not the Bible book of Numbers, but he has a book on that discusses numbers in your Bible, and I don't remember what it is. I've got it, but I don't remember the name of it.
Yeah, I have that
So
book too.
yeah, Numbers in Scripture, I think it's called.
Yeah, exactly. But it's not gematria. It's more
No, it's
right.
explanation of what a number means and represents, and how it's used, and within Scripture and such. So he gives examples of everything, every one of those major numbers in the Bible.
Right. If people, if they're interested, here in the Companion Bible under Appendix 10, he does kind of break down some of the basic ones. He's got like what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, on down to 17. So if y'all are interested, you can check that out. Okay, so let's move on. We were at verse 23, so next is 24. And Yahweh said, let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind, cattle and creeping thing, and beasts of the earth after his kind, and it was so. Now this verse is pretty jam-packed. We have creature, which equals soul, the nephesh. We looked at Appendix 13. But what else would you have to say about this verse that's so key here? Anything?
Well, you got a divine purpose stated. Number 1, that the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind. His entire purpose was to repopulate and restore. We're going to restore life. We're going to restore man and beasts. Uh, uh, some might say an Edenic Edenic covenant as well is being restored there. So, and there's no telling how long this recreation element lasted. Well, there are ways of telling, but actually, it gets very complicated. But the bottom line is there is a timeline element to how long this lasted before the fall. There's
Yeah,
other
and
books that give you specific numbers, as a matter of fact.
gotcha. But one of the things I notice here, it says that he created this living creatures after his kind. In other words, he didn't mix them all up. He didn't bring forth miscegenated animals. You know, it was all kind after kind.
Right.
I think that's pretty key. That's like almost, and it's not what do you call it? A documented law, but in essence, it is a form of law, kind after
Well, it's
kind.
part of a covenant. And so this is basically a general record. Now he goes on and says the how and order of the divine work are recorded in chapter 2, 7 through 25, where it seems clear that man was first created, 2:7. Next, the beasts were created and brought to Adam so that he could name each one, 2:19 to 20. Last of all, the woman was created, 2:21 to 25. So was man alone for a while?
He was, and he wasn't happy, was he? Anyway, I guess what I was trying to explain is this is like the difference between common law and statutory law. You know, where you have the Ten Commandments would be your statutory law, and then this here would be your kind after kind would be like your common law.
Yes. So you've got laws of nature, in essence, versus dictates for man's obedience, perhaps.
Yeah, yeah, very good. So let's move on. There's not much in the commentary for verse 13.
Verse 20, which
Or
one? Verse
24.
24? Okay.
So we're at 25. Yeah, I
Okay.
guess I don't think there was much commentary under 24. No, and there's not much commentary here either for 25. And Yahweh made the beasts of the earth after his kind, and cattle after their kind, and everything that creepeth upon the earth after his kind. And Yahweh saw that it was good. Okay, anything? There's no corruption there, right?
Not yet.
Okay, so let's go to 26 then. And Yahweh said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. Okay, we have lots of commentary here. Anything you want to start off with?
Well, one thing is the let us. You can go over to Psalms 82 and do some research on the counsel of Yahweh being revealed in that section of scripture. And so these intents to take this plurality element out is definitely not called for nor justified in any sense of the word. So beware of those that I would argue beware of those that would attempt to take that out, because this is a council. There is a basically a hierarchy already established involved with this type of elements of creation. And it's not like everybody's around a petri dish or something and throwing in their own little version of it, and poof, here comes something. No, this is a council discussing it in essence, and they've come to an agreement. And then Debar Yahweh has been given the authority and the power to do the creation, and that's what's going on. It seems to me. So
So
yeah.
what is that Psalms that you were talking about, that you referred to about the council?
Psalm 82. I believe it is
82.
Psalm 82, if I
Yeah,
remember
I
right.
want to bring this up and see. Yahweh standeth in the congregation of the mighty. He judges among the, what would that be, gods? Or would that be,
Well, that's your counsel.
that's
Now
the
you can
council.
look into all types of writings regarding this, and yeah, there's different opinions obviously available because there's different people out there that are thinking on it. But you're dealing with to keep it simple and just to say something simple, you're dealing with basically a round table, like the Knights of the Round Table, let's say, and these are entities that are responsible for various elements of certain of the creation, let's say, and not that they did the creation, but they are responsible for various elements of the overall creation of Yahweh, and Abba Yahweh is basically the one that they are in subjection to.
Yeah,
And
would you say these gods, I just saw in the Blue Letter Bible, which translated that word from Elohim, but wouldn't it be more accurate to say like the Malachim? Would these be which is frequently translated as angel?
well, there's a chance that you are dealing with Malachim, but keep in mind what the term Malachim can mean. That's why we need to be careful with how we want to strictly focus on, let's say, and use it as the term angels, because it covers a big gamut of other things. For example, you get over there to book of Revelation, and John is sitting there talking to this quote unquote angel, as he calls it. Well, it's a Malachim. It's a Malach, and the fellow says, he bows down and wants to start worshiping, and the Malach says, "Not so. Don't do that. I'm your brother."
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
uh, so you have elements of Malachim that are actually, we'll say, very spiritually minded and understanding people. So
Hmm.
it's just not a single process of interpretation, and I would advise everybody to be very careful as far as just automatically defaulting to, oh, that's just an angel. Wrong. Not every time. You know,
Yeah, and here in the commentary, Bullinger says under verse 26, let us, which indicates something plural. And then he says the divine purpose here is stated. And he's got that word divine capitalized, which kind of relates to what you were saying with the divine counsel. And he says the divine act not described till chapter 2, verse 7, and verses 21 through 24. And I think I posted those up above. I think we read those previously. Yeah, 2:7 was, um, and Yahweh formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed in his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul, or nephesh.
yes.
So I guess, and then 21 through 24, I think you read it earlier.
Yeah, you're
Yahweh created.
referencing what section here are you at?
It's
Where?
he 2 Genesis 2:21 through 24.
Okay. Yeah.
And I don't know if I've got that here in the outline, but we can pull it up. We would say 21 and 24, 21 through 24. And Yahweh caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept, and he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof. And I just want to double check. Yeah, that's
That's what he's
verse
talking
2.
about. So this is so what he's telling you. It's like this other commentary that I'd read to you, and that is that this is the general statement of the agreement that we're reading in Genesis 1, and the chapter 2 is actually giving you the divine act or manifestation of it in detail, more detail.
Okay. Yeah, verse 22 he says, and the rib which Yahweh had taken from the man made he woman and brought her unto the man. And Adam said, this is now bone of my bones, flesh of my flesh, and she shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall become one flesh. Okay, now how that relates to let us create man in our image. Why is Bullinger referencing this?
Divine purpose. It's
Okay,
like you said. It's just the divine purpose of the let us, and the actual act of it, or the let us is he just took you over there to show you how it was performed, in essence.
I see. And so that's how they were going to replenish the earth, I guess.
He gave them the power and ability to replenish the earth, and they designed it into us. And likely
I
that's one
see.
of the reasons why he brought the woman to him
Mhm.
as part of that replenishment process. Birds and bees stuff. So
Gotcha. Okay, then on this commentary, he says man, the Hebrew word Adam, with no
yeah.
article, so that equals mankind. Do you agree with that?
Well, I would say that's actually preferred, and the reason is because uh, this is not uh, just any other term. Adam, uh, is a not just a fella's name, but it's actually also the word that is translated man. And then, of course, what the meaning of that word is to show blood in the face, to blush rosy red. This is a racial identifier, folks. This is not just something that you throw to the side. This is a racial identifier term, and that is what equates with, as he just showed you there, as mankind. So when you think of a pygmy, or you think of a Hottentot, or even a Mongol, you're not talking about mankind. That is not mankind. That is something else. That's beast kind, as a matter of fact, or living creature kind, if you want to be a little less harsh in the terms. But yeah.
So the Adam kind, or mankind of Adam, is basically to show red in the face or to blush. There's only one race that does that, and that's the Caucasian race that I know of.
Yeah, so
And then,
your other races are not equated with mankind. That's the bottom line. They're not. The other races are not Adamites, and so it becomes important to know the distinction, especially when you get over here to chapter 5, verse 1, where it tells you this is the book of the race of Adam, or the generations of Adam. And the question becomes, well, who else would have been uh, thinking it was to them if Adam was the only one created? Well, that's because he's not the only race or only one that has understanding or that can think, etc. There's others, and they're not included in the book. Is not to them, and so there's no sense in digging in there and demanding that we have evidence of other races being created and what they did, where's their lineage record and all that. It's not to them. It's not about them. It's only if they come in contact and cause some type of issue with the people of the book before they're even referenced anymore, and they are
yeah,
referenced here and there.
right. Let's look up this word Adam and here and see what the definition is, so that we can. I think it should be here about showing blood in the face. Tools. It's a Hebrew 120. Adam.
Okay, now keep going. And what does it say it's from? From 119, right?
From one, yeah, I'm trying to get to that. Let's see, 119. Would that be in the Browns Driver Briggs edition?
Oh, it doesn't matter. It's Strong's is fine. It says under Strong's 119 is to show blood in the face. That is flush or turn rosy. And then you have it defined as dyed, made red, ruddy, etc.
Yeah, here it is, even under 120. Adam, from ruddy, i.e., a
That's right.
human.
That's right.
That word ruddy means red,
That's
to
right.
show red in the face or to blush.
And in your Brown
And
Driver's Briggs, it's defined as it to be red, ruddy, uh, a to be rubbed red. Well, if you get rubbed on your arm, what color does it turn if you're a white person?
right,
So to cause to show blood, to show red, to cause to show red, uh, to emit redness, to glow red, to look red. This is Brown Driver's Briggs explanation of it, but yeah, Strong's is pretty good. It just says to show blood in the face.
yeah, and
To
here's the root word, the etymology, 119. Adam, to be red, to be ruddy, dyed red, reddened, cause to show red, which is to blush. So it's definitely referring to one type of man, and that would be your Caucasians, because they're the only ones that blush or show red in the face. Although I've heard people say, oh, my wife is Chinese and she blushes. Oh, really? Okay.
mm,
I've never seen a Asian person blush, and not that it's visible anyway. They tend to be more yellowish.
they even call themselves the yellow race. So there is a difference, and
Yeah, there is.
there would be a difference in the colors as well. if she did blush to some degree. And keep in mind, we have a competition going on in this world for world domination. The other races have deliberately tried to uh, uh, imitate and mimic the chosen race. Always have, always will. They still do it today. That's why you see the blacks putting on the hair straightener, and you see them uh,
Bleaching their hair blonde.
bleaching themselves blonde. And matter of fact, you had Michael Jackson bleaching his skin or doing something to his skin,
Yeah,
which
I
was
think that
all
was done
demonic.
with glutathione, will cause your skin to turn white like that.
Yeah,
But it's unnatural looking on a, on a black person. But anyway,
absolutely.
we're getting close. I want to try to finish this verse 26, and then we'll end here,
Okay.
where it says, image and likeness, figuratively, Hendi Asas, Appendix 6. We'll have to go there and look at that. It says, one thing, not two. And then it says, quote, in the likeness of our image, these of Elohim, or Malach, not Jehovah, the second person who had taken creature form in order to create. Colossians 1:15. Did I put that down?
115, I contend, is telling us of Debar Yahweh that did this. He had the authority to take care of the issue, and that's the same entity that ended up possessing Yahshua, who then becomes known as Yahshua the Messiah. So that's who ultimately that section of scripture you're turning to in Colossians is talking about, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and Debar Yahweh, that word Debar means the word, right? So
The
we're
word of
talking about,
Yahweh, the spokesman of Yahweh, he is referred to as the Son. John tells us that it was he who, it was the Son, or this entity, who revealed the Father to us uh, in the bosom of the Father, and that he's the one that revealed him. And then it was this entity who emptied himself and possessed the prepared body of Yahshua. That's it seems to me it seems very, very clear.
it
Uh,
says here in Colossians 15, who is in the image of the invisible Yahweh,
that's
the
right.
firstborn of every creature.
Notice now he's the firstborn. That means it suggests there's going to be other born, more than one, more than the first. If he's the firstborn, it automatically insinuates there'll be a second at least
Mm-hmm.
of every creature, or yeah. And so this also suggests that he was a creature, created entity.
Right, because the word also says, as you've pointed out many times, that no one has seen Yahweh. And it says right here, we're created in the image of the invisible Yahweh, or the unseen Yahweh.
Hmm. That's correct.
Okay, so let's move on here. Hebrews 1, verse 3. Do you have that, or you want me to read it?
Hebrews 1 verse 3. Let's see, that's in your, let's see, 1 verse 3. Okay,
Yeah.
who being the brightness of his glory and the express image of his person, and upholding all things by the word of his power, when he had by himself purged our sins, sat down on the right hand of the majesty on high. Now, the majesty on high here is going to be Abba Yahweh, and the one sitting down on his right hand turns out to be Yahshua the Messiah. But remember, Debar Yahweh had possessed Yahshua, and therefore becoming Yahshua Messiah, the anointed. It was that's who anointed him, Debar Yahweh. And now he's at the right hand of the Father, waiting until his enemies enemies be made his footstool. And remember what also was spoken: uh, "Return me to the glory I had with thee before the world was." So where was Debar Yahweh before the world was? At the right hand of the Father, in the bosom of the Father. This is the entity we're dealing with, who had possessed Yahshua, the man, just like Hebrews 10:5 is telling us, and I suggest Philippians chapter 2 verse 7 is also telling us.
Okay, and he references Revelation 3:14.
And unto the angel of the assembly of Laodiceans write, these things saith the Amen, the faithful and true witness, the beginning of the creation of Yahweh. My contention is that this is talking about Debar Yahweh again. He was the beginning or the first thing that Yahweh created.
I see.
Abba Yahweh created him and then gave him a power and authority to do the creation, the rest of the creation. And that's what the Colossians passage went on to say. You're going into 16 and 17 and such on down through there. That's basically what it goes on and talks about, how that he did the creation after that.
Okay, well, we're at the top of the hour. We'll finish up on this verse 26 because there's a lot here, and I don't think we're going to get it done really in a short amount of time.
Okay.
So we'll pick it up next time, and we'll open it up for any questions or commentary. All right, thank you so much. That was very, very informative, very enlightening.
Okay.
Anybody have any questions? We're in the Q&A hour.
No, I'm good. One question that I might have, but it's not related to what you guys talked about. Is it possible that Yahweh is still talking to people like today, like like he used to do with the prophets and with the, like with King David, he will talk to him and give him his word and.
Well, if you're asking me, I believe he does. Now, when you say Yahweh, I'm talking about the entity that possessed Debar Yahweh, who possessed Yahshua. So it is that spirit from Yahshua that is doing the talking to individuals. I do believe that.
Yeah, because I had a very, very weird experience like a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I was pretty much an atheist until last year. I didn't even believe because I did not like the God that was presented at church. I thought the church is the biggest manipulation of the masses. That's what I used to call it.
You are amazingly alert. You are amazingly alert to be an atheist. But I mean, this is it was already awakened in your spirit, woman. Regardless of what you know about yourself, you were already awakened.
I'm telling you, I'm telling you, this is what I used to describe the church as being a tool to manipulate the masses.
Yeah.
And I did went to church a couple of times, but it was not for me. It was not for me. And then all of a sudden last year, maybe like Thursday, it's been about a year, okay? And I discovered some videos here on Telegram, and then I'm like, wait a second. I kind of like this Yahweh.
There you go.
This is not the Yahweh that was presented. This is not the Jesus that was presented at the church. I mean, it's a totally different outlook on it. So the reason I'm saying this is because in 2009, I was like trying to go to the store and get some. It was on a Sunday. And remember, I said I was an atheist. I didn't believe, And it was a Sunday, so I get in my car because I was going to get some cold cuts for my daughter's sandwiches because I used to pack their lunches. And I get in my car and I try to put the key in the ignition and I freeze, like I couldn't move. I was frozen with the key right next to the ignition. And something struck me like in the head, like lightning, this idea. And it says, this is the words I heard in my head. The world is run by a satanic elite that's running the world from the shadows, from behind. You can't see them. And I'm like, huh? That's how I'm like, huh? And I thought about it.
I'm just amazed, Missy. That's fantastic. Keep going, please. But I'm just warning you. I'm warning you. I guarantee you, with a testimony like that, he's got plans for you. I guarantee it.
I'm telling you, and I'm frozen. Like I have the key right there, right to slide it in the keyhole, in the ignition. And I'm frozen. And this is not my idea because I'm not that smart, okay? I tell people, you think I'm smart? I'm not that smart, okay? It's Yahweh that's teaching me. And then this is what it came in my head, like somebody was talking in my head, like, putting this idea in my head that the world is run by a satanic elite from the shadows. And I thought about it. I was like, huh? I'm like, nah. So I shook my head. I put the key and I was gone, right? And I'm like, wow, he talked to me. I think he did.
Well, let me give you this passage here. Now, see, I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying, you need to make sure you know who's talking. Let's say it that way. If it's not coming from your own
It did
brain,
not, because like
okay.
I said, I'm not that smart.
I got you. So, well, out of curiosity, though, before I give you this passage, I just wondering. So, how long has it been since you would put such a statement up there? It's the Jews, stupid.
It's been about a year. It's been about a year. Like I said, it's been a year since I'm fully aware. I wasn't aware in 2009. Like, I didn't know nothing. I'm just riding along, living, like my daughter said, busy living my life.
Wow.
But it's like, holy moly. I know so much that I'm like, I have an argument with one of my clients because I'm a hairdresser and I cut hair, so I know lots of people.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my clients is a pastor. And he's claiming that Abraham was a Jew. So I said to him, I'm so sorry, I found a different page because he knows I'm reading the Bible, right? And I said to him, I don't want to come out to him because I know he's my brother, okay? He's white like I am. I don't want to come out conflictual. But I said to him, look, I think the Israelites are different than the Jews. No, Jesus was a Jew, blah, blah, blah. I said to him, Pastor Mike, if you can answer me one question, one simple little question, then I will believe that Abraham was a Jew. And he said, sure. So I said to him, listen, didn't God told Abraham in Genesis that his children are going to multiply so much they're going to become nations on the face of the earth? He said, yeah, that's correct. I said, can you name all the Jew nations on the face of the earth? Because I don't know none.
That's right. That's right. I've used that before. I said, well, where is the Jews' multitude of nations the Bible promised they would become? And they never manifest a multitude of nations. And then you name off a whole lot of little details like that, and it's only manifest in basically the white race of European descent. I mean, exactly. We are the ones that Yahweh brought forth to bring forth Western civilization, Missy. We brought forth Western civilization. And it's a blessing upon the entire world. And guess what they want to destroy? Guess who the Jews?
They want to kill us, yeah.
That's right. They want to destroy Western civilization. They want to kill us all. That's why they're trying to flood our lands and et cetera with all this vermin, et cetera. They're behind it.
I keep telling everybody, we're an endangered species right now.
That's right. Well, I just want to drive this point home. It's in my view, at least. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm open to correction, Missy, even by you and anybody else.
No,
but
I agree
just keep
with
in
you
mind,
100%.
we're going to win this, and he promised that. The problem is that he's going to punish us using that very vermin we're talking about. Why? Because our people want to spit in his face, and he's going to bring us down to practically nothing, but he's going to turn it around for the remnant. That's exactly what he promises. He's going to return lest there be no flesh saved. That's what he really means. He's going to help basically bring us down to, or whittle us down to practically nothing left. And that, by the way, all these ideas that you see on a lot of these other platforms and such, let's go get our 22s and they start a revolution and start killing these. Wrong. That ain't the victory line, man. That ain't the victory way. The way we're going to win it is.
I have a friend, and she's very in despair. She's a good friend of mine. She's a little older than me, and we both kind of came to Yahweh in the same kind of time last year, and we both changed our diet, but I'm a lot deeper in this thing that she is. She kind of put her studies away, and she keeps saying, "Oh, we're not winning. They're winning. They're this." And I said to her, look, if you say that we're not going to win this, that means you don't have any faith in Yahweh, because Yahweh say we're gonna win this. He says it in the book.
Many
I have
times.
faith that as bad as it looks like, we're gonna win it. I have faith, and I put my faith into him.
There you go. That's good. Now let's see. Back to this passage. Okay, I'll give you one right here off the top of my head. It's John 5:37. John 5:37. Yahshua talking. He says, "And the Father himself, which hath sent me, hath borne witness of me." Now, where did he give witness of him? He says, "And lo, a voice from heaven saying, This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased." When he got baptized, that's one of the witnesses. But he goes on and says, "Ye have neither heard his voice at any time, nor seen his shape." He's talking to, who's he talking to here? Yahshua is telling them that they had never seen the Father, never heard him. Well, who was it? Well, I'm telling you, it was Debar Yahweh. It was this word of Yahweh, this spokesman of Yahweh. Sometimes he's described as a Malak, or you'd find it translated angel, but he's a Malak, or a messenger of Yahweh, and that's the same entity that possessed the prepared body of Yahshua, and so that's why he can say certain things that seem like off the wall, like strange, but he's right in line. If you understand the heavenly host and how this happened, and Hebrews, as far as I'm concerned, Hebrews chapter 10 verse 5 tells us, and also, and I contend that Philippians chapter 2 verse 7, I think it's 6, 7, and 8 there, it tells us in essence what happened is that Debar Yahweh possessed the prepared body that we know as Yahshua, and that is when, because Yahshua had to be of a particular physical lineage that goes all the way back to David and all the way back to Adam, and etc. This had to be a particular individual, and that's what all the prophecies promised would happen, and where he would come from. Now, all this other corruption by the Jew, as far as I'm concerned, has came in to try to deface that and de-authenticate his messiahship and his messiahhood, as if he's not the right one and such. And one of the things they did add and altered the text and such about was the virgin birth thing, because you can't, if he doesn't have the patriarchal lineage from David, then he's not the Messiah, the bottom line. And so they had to destroy his patriarchal lineage back to David by bringing in the virgin birth. And really what they have now is a different Messiah figure. And that's exactly what the church promotes and pushes. And it's permeated. And in the end, it is a satanic deception that Yahweh gave them permission to do this. Why? To punish and curse Israel for rejecting Yahweh's law. That's what happened.
I'm telling you, even when you say his name, like I'm on all these Romanian groups, I'm trying to wake Romanian people up to the truth and to who they are and where they come from. You know, that they're descendants of Abraham, to know, not Abraham, descendants of, Adam.
Mm-hmm.
And soon as I went to like a chat room, soon as I wrote the word Yahweh, as soon as I said the word Yahweh in the chat room, everybody just like jumped at me like they were throwing buckets of hot water on me. I'm telling you, it was like, wow, all the devils came out of there.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if it's you, but or you sending some links or something. But somebody in Romania has got my email or my website, because I've been watching my admin information that my website allows me, identifies even what nation some of these things are coming from. And Romania has been hot for some reason here lately. I don't know what's going on. But
there is a guy on the group on the Ministry of Yahweh that he's from Romania. His name, I think, is Sebastian.
Okay. Well, somebody's been going to my website a lot from Romania. I'll say it that way.
Yeah, that's him right there. I think that's him, because I gave you a link to somebody in Spain, a Romanian guy that he was listening to this lady saying, from Romania. I think the lady's crazy because she said that she gave birth to the earth. And I said to him, don't listen to that. That's crazy. No woman is going to give birth to the earth. This is Yahweh's creation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I kind of like started talking to him, and I had told him a little story because of my occupation, I have dealt with a lot of people. So I had few Jew clients. Okay. And I actually had a Jew neighbor that I was friends with for the longest time, because she lived kind of across the street. Well, I didn't know. Remember, I was an atheist. I didn't know anything. And, this lady, she was like maybe 20 years older than me. And she didn't drive, so she was kind of like freaked out. And every single time she wanted to do something in the yard, like to trim a bush or something, she'll call me over. Hey, can you cut this flower for me? Can you do this for me? She would never touch a plant. And I'm like, I didn't see nothing wrong with it. I was just like, she doesn't have a green thumb, So then, last year I started reading, Genesis and the curse of Cain, that he can't grow food on every plant that he... And I'm going like, holy moly, smokes! That is the curse. That's why my neighbor couldn't trim her flowers. My Jew neighbor, she called me all the time. Holy smokes, the curse is real.
Yeah. Be careful who you're aiding and abetting, Missy. Be careful who you're aiding
Well,
and abetting.
I know, but I didn't know back then. Well, she's dead. She died like 3 years ago. But, I didn't know back then. We're talking like 20-something
Yeah.
years ago,
Yeah, right.
And I didn't know anything about it. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
She couldn't grow. And to me, that was like, holy smokes, this is real. So
Yeah.
that brought me even closer to Yahweh because I knew that the curse was real. And it's not just that instant, it was different. I had another Jewish client that again, she's like, oh, nothing, I don't have a green thumb. Everything I touch, it dies. Oh, I'm wondering why, because I plant flowers and I plant trees in my yard and all that, and everything grows and blooms beautiful,
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
That was
back to
my
your
question.
subject. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you brought up some good things there as far as who was it that spoke to you? And my contention would be it would be either a Malak on behalf of the Spirit of Yahweh that is, or else it was actually Yahshua that would have reached down and basically addressed you in some way along that lines, or one of his, like I said, or one of his messengers. But
That's just one instance, okay? Because I have another instance. I've never told anybody but one person this before the COVID happened, because I didn't want people to think that I'm kind of out there like cuckoo, And ever since I was a little girl, I had the feeling that something is coming upon humanity. I'm going to be part of the people that's going to save it. And I'm like, I'm waiting all my life for something to happen, and then boom, COVID hit. And I'm like, what?
you might get the chance soon here.
Oh, I'm ready for it. I'm telling you, I'm ready.
All right. Well, there's another passage I wanted to share as well,
Okay.
basically concerning your idea, your situation, but not to in any sense of the word condemning what you're talking about. I'm trying to help you identify, well, what was this from and where was this from? So that's why I gave you the passage over here earlier where it said that they'd neither heard his voice or seen his shape, and it's talking about Abba Yahweh. So it wasn't Abba Yahweh that did this for you. It was either a Malakim, or something dealing with Yahshua himself, perhaps we'll say it that way. But then he goes in John chapter 1 verse 18. John 1:18 says, "No man hath seen Yahweh," and I contend this is Abba Yahweh, "at any time. The only begotten Son, which is in the bosom of the Father, he hath declared him." And keep in mind this Son, this only begotten Son element, this is not really referring to Yahshua himself, the man, Yahshua the man. We're talking about Debar Yahweh again. We're talking about what we were talking about. I think you'd left the room for a little while or something other, but
yeah, I had a call I had to take. It was like important. That's why I left,
Yeah, no problem. So we were we jumped over there to Colossians chapter 1 about verse 15, but 15, 16, 17, right in that area, it'll show you a good bit of information about who was responsible for doing this creation. And and so this is Debar Yahweh, the word or the spokesman on behalf of Abba Yahweh that did all this. And notice here this is also telling us who is it that revealed that there is a hidden one, we read a passage a while ago that he was invisible, the invisible Yahweh.
Yes, I saw that. I saw that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're talking about there is an entity that's the big dude, if you will, Abba Yahweh, and he's kind of hidden. He stays back out of the picture, and you very rarely hear anything or see anything of him. Why? Because the spokesman that's the go-between, if you will. That's the mediator between Abba Yahweh and man, and now Yahshua has now taken that role, and also become the captain of our salvation. At the same time, he was the prepared body that had the Debar Yahweh invested into him at baptism and etc. So and you got to keep it. Well, what does all this matter? Well, one of the things that matters on this whole picture is they tried to steal him away. They tried to hide the true Messiah and present a different one. And that's what the world has got. They got it. They got the false Messiah. They've got the man of sin sitting in their temple, exalted as if he is Yahweh, the creator, and he's not. It is Satan in the skies. This is so stinking serious, and it's very few people that can
I
grasp it.
truly
And
agree with you. I
it's
truly
just,
agree with you because I told you I put that video out there. I put it and you said that you had good points. And that's kind of like what it kind of all woke me up. Wait a second, that Jesus Christ is Satan in disguise.
right.
And if you go to the, I'm talking like, because I have not been to many American churches. Like, I only been here like 3 times to an American church, and I thought it was a freaking clown show,
Right.
And you have, falling on the floor, pretending they're like passed out, that they're possessed by the spirit. I'm like, no, they cannot be possessed because the spirit is not within them,
That's right.
So
Well,
the Romanian church, the Greek Orthodox church where I was born into, and they do the baptism in a bucket of water, like you said earlier. It's not correct because you have to go in a flowing river, and they do lots of idol worshiping. You walk into a church, everybody's kissing a picture of Jesus that's painted,
yep.
on the wall.
I know. I went to a Russian Orthodox here in Atlanta one time with a neighbor. She was Russian, and she didn't know how to get there, and I felt sorry for her, so I took her up there with my wife, and yeah, we got out of there as soon as we could. I tell you, it was weird stuff as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I have a cousin in Romania that's a couple of years older than me, and I love her dearly, and I went there this summer to see my mom because my mom is sick, so I don't know if she's gonna make it or not. So I met with my cousin obviously when I was there, and she's like, "Oh, I just got back in town." She went to like the northern part of Romania because she went to visit the Saint Paraskev's bones. So they have this woman that died, I don't know when, like in the 1600s, and they mummify her body, and the church sanctified that she's a saint. And everybody's going to praise her and worship these bones. This motherfucker, I said, that's satanic, dude. Don't do that.
That's right.
You're pissing Yahweh off. You're
it's pretty
pissing your
sick stuff.
God off.
Yeah, it's really sick stuff. By the way, you make mention about the going and getting Holy Spirit or something like this. Well, that's not Holy Spirit for sure. What it is though is if you go to that 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, it's telling you even him who's coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders. That's where that sideshow that they put on is coming from. It is actually power and signs and lying wonders, and it is another spirit, another gospel, another Messiah, just like Paul is telling us. But we see it manifested in basically what you call Christianity. And keep in mind, when you look up, you can do demographics. For example, you can Google search demographics of Christianity, something like that, and it'll pull up a study that had been done by one of the major research firms, and it's got it all demographed out for different races. Well, the majority of Christianity today is actually not white, and so by far. Okay.
I think you're 100% right, yeah. But I went there like 3 times. I went there with a coworker because she's like, "Oh, come and join our church, blah blah blah." I go there. There is a preacher, pastor, whatever you want to call it, on the stage, getting all red, like screaming from the top, "Jesus, Jesus!" I'm like, "Oh, okay, whatever." And they're all speaking in, some of them, they're so-called speaking in tongues, which I don't really find that in the scripture where you can speak in tongues,
Yeah.
And the nigger is falling down on the floor. It's like possessed by the spirit, and I'm going like, okay, this is kind of creepy.
Yeah.
Okay, I need to get out of here.
Yeah. When I first left the Baptist church that I was in when I was in my well, I think I was probably about 20 or so when I did this. But anyway, I started working with a quote unquote evangelist, and he taught more like holiness type of standards and different things. He put me into the mindset of separating yourself, and that you're talking about the scriptures talking about an exclusive remnant, a group of people, and you can't trust mainstream stuff. So he helped put me into that mindset to some degree. But anyway, for some reason, he wasn't into the racial element. He didn't know. He thought the black dude can just as well be one of the remnant or all this 9 yards of garbage like that. But anyway,
now
so he knew.
that I know, yeah.
Yeah,
No.
so he wanted me to go down to downtown Atlanta with him. Okay, talking about we was in. It's called Spring Street area, and it's just like the most dangerous part of Atlanta you could ever go to. And he wanted us to go down there to visit a black church of some guy that had called him on his radio program or whatever. So anyway, we went on down there, and you talk about they had this big old gigantic drum up there. One of these like you see in a marching band, this big old giant drum. And the preacher was up there just beating on that thing, stirring up the spirits, I guess you could say. And here come his daughter down the middle of the aisle, shaking all over the place, we'll say it that way, and just slobbering and spitting all over her. I mean, it's like she was foaming at the mouth. Looks like she'd taken some of those Mentos tablets or whatever they call those things that start foaming when you get water on them. But it was just ridiculous. Yeah, that's right. It was absolutely ridiculous. But he's just spitting all over the place and foaming. I just thought, and I come from a Baptist background. I thought this is out of order if there ever was one. I mean, come off it. And anyway, yeah, it was just some really funny, weird stuff.
I come from Romania. We're very conservative over there. We're like super conservative.
Yeah.
We're like, to me, to wear a pair of shorts here in America, it was a big deal. I was like, wow, I have to wear something like this, like a woman, I mean, we wore skirts, we wore nylons and the high heels, it was minus 20 degrees outside and we still have our skirts on, so.
Yeah.
We're like super conservative, so I'm like, okay, this is kind of weird here. People are falling on the floor. And, it's funny because now knowing the Bible, because I'm halfway through, I think, reading it, and I've listened to the book of Jasher, and like I said, it's only been a year for me since I'm into this.
Right.
I feel like I know a lot in the city. I've learned a lot. And
I can tell you know a lot. That's fantastic. I can tell it.
And then every time I ask Yahweh to a question, like I get the answer like 3 days later. Like I said to him, I said, hey, where is my people come from? Romania. What bloodline? 3 days later, Magog, the grandson of Noah, I'm like, oh, wonderful. Where is Adam buried? 3 days later, I know the answer. It's kind of like something to do with 3 days with me, He gives me the answer 3 days.
I am going to send you a list of questions to ask.
Oh, I did. I'm telling you. I asked him because I'm very curious-minded ever since I was a little girl. I will ask my grandfather, hey, why is this cup painted white, Well, because that's the way they make it. Well, why did they make it that way? Like I was a why after a why after a why. I'm always very curious-minded. So, I did ask him, because I'm very curious. Where did he come from? How did he came into existence? That's my question. I'm going big here.
Yeah.
I'm going big. I want to know.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
I don't know if it's going to answer me that question, but I want to know, does he have a mother? Does he have a father? I mean, I don't know. That's my little small-minded earth in a flesh body now.
Yeah.
It's funny. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah. But yeah, I hear with Atlanta, I go to Tennessee. I got my best friend that I told you I spoke to. I drive to her house like every once a year, like for the past 3 years. I try to make it to that it's a very early a.m., like a 5 a.m. or a past midnight. I do not want to go through Atlanta at 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like, no way. No way.
When I was in college, I worked on the north side of Atlanta and had to go through downtown Atlanta. And you talking about traffic, like that's where I learned to drive. And that was before they made them into like 5-lane, 6-lane wide each side. But I mean, it was only 2-lane wide when I was doing it. And it was some serious driving. But anyway, okay.
But thank you for the thing. I just had this in the back of my head because I had other weird stuff happening to me, and I'm like, I don't know have you ever experienced anything with energy in the body? Have you ever had that?
I've had a couple of situations where even in my Baptist church. So I've mentioned this to very few. I'll go ahead and tell you. Lily knows about it. But I was in the Baptist church, and I'm sitting there. They're closing out the service, basically. What?
Rick,
yeah.
Do you want me to stop recording or? So before you tell the story?
No, I think it's fine. I think it's fine.
Okay,
I,
okay.
Yeah,
I
we're
think
not
it's
sharing like anything.
yeah, yeah. This is this is not as strange as others have probably had something similar to this. But regardless, I was there. I had my head bowed because they're doing like an invitation in the church and such, and like we say, closing out the service, and they're seeing if anybody will come forward and dedicate their life and all this other kind of stuff. Anyway, so we're sitting there praying, and everybody's head is bowed and all, and but I suddenly get this perceive a light coming at me. My eyes are closed, okay? Eyes are closed, heads bowed, but I perceive a light coming at me from like just north of my forehead. And it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and I feel the heat coming off of this light. Okay?
Oh, wow.
And it's just like somebody has brought a flashlight up and it's got it right here in front of my head. So I open my eyes and ain't nothing there. That happened a couple of times, and I'm sitting there saying, "What was that?" And
I had like a ball of fire, like down in my spine, and it just kind of like formed out of nowhere. It was like as big as a tennis ball, and it started spinning slowly, and it burned. Oh my God, it burned, and then it started rolling on my spine. And then when it got to my head, it disappeared, and my hands started shaking, and I'm going like, I'm freaked out. I don't know what it is. I'm like, what was that? So 20-something years later, yeah.
I was going to ask, have you ever heard of orbs? Rick, have you ever heard of orbs?
Yes.
Yep.
I actually have recorded a orb in my house.
Yeah. Well, okay. You remember Christopher the other night, Lily? He made mention of, or somebody, I don't remember who it was now. I think it was Christopher, but he made mention of that fella down there in Florida, Yahweh ben Yahweh calls himself.
I've heard about him. Yes.
Yeah, he's
a
black
Cuban
dude.
guy or something, or a black
something
guy.
Like
yes,
that.
something.
Yeah. Well, he's able to summons orbs. Yeah.
I had a camera in my house, and I put the motion detector in the living room, and I went vacation to the beach for a week with my daughters. And when I turned the motion detector on in the middle of the day, because all the blinds are closed, so my house was kind of dark, then the motion detector went off on my camera, and I'm like, it recorded the footage. And there is an orb going across the living room, like a white round little orb. Then about 20 minutes later, the orb comes back on the other side, and I'm going like, I was so freaked out, I didn't want to come home anymore.
Yeah.
It was so freaky. It was scary. I'm like, what's that? Because obviously, if it triggered the motion detector in the camera, it had to be something moving.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's another situation where I knew Lily, you might remember Mocha on Pow Talk. I don't know if you remember her or not. But anyway, okay, she told me of a situation that was behind her house a little ways in the woods or something other. There used to be a church back there or something other, and or Pentecostal or something like this. Anyway, it was deserted now or something like this. I don't remember the exact story, all of it, but so she had walked back in there, and her cats were back there, and they were watching. She said that they can perceive certain things, and they were able to see something that she couldn't see, but they were freaking, and they could see it moving, and all their heads would turn in synchronized turn, looking at something and watching something, and so she said that she got the definite one of those chills down her spine or something other, knowing that there's something going on there, evil spirits or something left over from the Pentecostal days or something that she was figuring. But yeah, I don't know what ever happened on that, but yeah, she was making mention that perhaps your animals can sense certain things. So perhaps the orbs or perhaps spirits or something. I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know either. I was really freaked out, and I still have the footage. It was like freaky. And then I have this Romanian girl, that she's a friend of mine, when I send her the footage, and she says, well, I can see very positive energy on this side of the house and very negative on the other side. Well, of course, the positive was where my bedroom is, and the other side, it was where my daughters are, because, they're little commies over there. because the college made them communist, you know.
Yeah.
They were starting with that Black Lives Matter shit, and I told them, I said, I don't harbor terrorists. In this house, all white life matters, you know.
Yeah, all those Jewish professors brainwashing them.
Exactly. But no, Mom is crazy. Mom is crazy. You know, Mom doesn't know what she's talking about. She's like, oh, what do you know about communists? Because you were only 4 when it collapsed. I said, well, you must have failed your math class because I was born in 1974 and communists collapsed in 1989. I was 15 and a half when it collapsed. I know more about than a 4-year-old. What do you know about communist living, Mom? Oh, I know a lot.
Yeah. Yep.
It was bad time, but I have a dear friend that called me today that interrupted my study here. And he's a pure-blown communist. And I told him today, I said, you're a full-blooded communist. I said, I don't know about you. He's like, oh, communist. Yeah.
Is he in Romania?
No, he's here in Florida. You know, he's like, you know, he lives in Newport Richie. He's a good guy, but he's living in the past. He's living in a time where he was, and it will never be anymore. So I'm like, okay. Communist was good for you because your father was a doctor and he was a director of a big hospital. So you had plenty of, but I know people in Romania that didn't even have food to eat, okay?
Right.
So, I mean, really, those times are never coming back.
So he came from the lineage of somebody who was some of the selected at the top.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was not selected at the top, but I can't complain. I always had a good life there. I can't complain. We always have food. My family always have food because we had grandparents in the countryside, and they will farm, and we will eat animals off the farm that my grandparents will raise. So I never really have a problem with food, but a lot of my friends growing up, they did. So, you know, many instances I will go to school and I will share my lunch with my girlfriend that didn't have anything. Like I will bring bologna sandwiches, you know, or whatever, you know. My mom will make me like fried whatever, you know, and I will be like, oh, I don't want to eat this. So, you know, give it to my friends, you know, that I knew that they didn't have. So my mom was like, oh, you eat all your lunch? I'm like, sure I did.
Now you're making me hungry. I haven't eaten yet, so.
Yes. I'm sorry.
No problem.
But anyway, I'll let you guys go because I'm sure I need to take a shower. I'm full of paint here. I'm painting. I'm trying to sell my house so I can downsize a little bit and come out of the usury system. Okay.
There you go.
I wanna buy a little townhome cash. Will be great.
Well, Missy, do you have any prayer requests or anything? We can end in prayer and.
Well, like I said, if you guys want to pray for my mom, you know, because you know I'm not asking Yahweh for money or anything. I'm just asking Yahweh to keep me healthy so I can go to work. And you know, health is the most important thing I think in our lives. And
how's she doing? How's your mom doing?
She's okay. Like I said, I don't know. I mean, she was telling me yesterday that she was having some stabbing pains in her heart. And I'm like, are you having a heart attack? Or she's like, I'm not calling the ambulance. I'm like, well, she had fall for the fake medication. And I was just reading, I think, I'm in the 2nd Chronicles about that guy that was a king. I forgot his name because the names are so funny. That he died because he trusted his physician instead of Yahweh.
Who was that? Hezekiah? Rick, do you know?
No, it was before him.
Oh, before him?
Before him, yes. I'm in Hezekiah. I'm reading about Hezekiah now, but it was before me. Maybe it's something with the A.
Yeah, Asa, I think it was Asa. I think it was ASA. I think it was the name. I don't remember now.
Asa, yes, and he said that he died because he trusted his physician, and that's kind of like my mom.
That's cool.
It's kind of like my mom. She's been going to doctors for like decades, and now she's at 10 pills every day. And I said to her, when she came and visited me like in 2018, and she comes with like a suitcase full of medication. I'm like, what is this pill? Because I'm a curious minded. What's that pill? She's like, oh, this one is for my heart. I said, what problems do you have with your heart? oh, I'm taking a pill because the doctor said to keep my heart healthy. I said, Mother, when have you ever heard of taking a pill to keep your heart healthy? God gave you, because you see, I can tell her Yahweh because she doesn't really grasp that concept about Yahweh.
Right.
God, I tell her, I said, God gave you a healthy body. You don't need to take a pill to keep it healthy. That's the pharmaceutical industry. You know? So, I'm sure that those pills have done some damage,
Right.
Did she get the jab?
No.
Oh, good. Good.
She's very against the job because she said that if this heart doctor that's supposed to operate on her is gonna ask her to take the job, she's gonna go without having surgery, and how many days she's gonna enjoy them, and that's it.
Hey, Missy, I tell you, I was having some little problems with sharp pains coming through my heart for many years, but every time I take fish oil, there's basically the little capsules. I don't have those problems anymore, and of course I go to the gym as well now. But for several years there, I wasn't doing anything like that, and I could definitely get sharp pains in my heart and my chest sometimes. But I haven't had that in probably at least 2 years since I've had anything like that. So fish oil might help. I don't know.
I'm gonna tell her that because I take it every day. I don't trust the fish oil that's over here. I bought some fish oil capsules that are made in Denmark.
Yeah.
I can put the picture if you want on the chat.
Oh, I'd love it.
I'll put the picture. I bought them in Europe, and I brought me like I don't know how many pills of them. How many capsules? Like 500 of them.
Right.
And I looked on Amazon, and I saw that they have them because I do not trust anything that's sold in here. Everything is full of poison.
Yeah.
And I've seen a video where they take a fish oil and they put it on styrofoam, and the styrofoam pretty much melts. I'm like, what's in there?
Yep.
So, yes, I'm gonna tell her because she's got a pharmacy or whatever you want to call it very close to her house there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Isn't there an herb that is holy something? I'm trying to think of what it is. And if I do a search on holy, I get so many hits, it's hard to find.
I know I worked with Black Sap before. Have you guys heard about that one? It's very, very good.
I was trying to find there's an herb that actually I know that it's called hawthorn, but I think it goes by a different name in the scripture.
Holy basil is one. Holy basil.
Holy basil. I wonder if that'll come up. But I know that hawthorn is, and I'm not sure what the biblical term is for that particular root, but Yeshua actually picked from that hawthorn tree, and that's supposed to be very good for the heart. It's like a tonic.
I'm gonna have to do some research on it. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Nothing I can do about it, I just have to pray for her.
Okay, well, do you want to close in prayer, Rick?
How about you going ahead? Actually, I got a bit of a headache myself.
Oh, okay. And Missy, do you have any other prayer requests?
No.
We'll pray for your mom. Okay, well, Father Yahweh, we just come to you humbly and submit our wills to your will. And if it is your will that Missy's mother be healed of her heart condition and of this, what she needs, what she's suffering from, and we just ask that you touch her and heal her and give her a peace and bless Missy also and continue to have her grow in your word. It sounds like you're doing some amazing things there. And we just ask that you continue to open her eyes to the truth and bless our brother Rick here, who's been such a wonderful, blessed teacher for us. We ask that you put divine protection over him, that no evil will come against him. And we ask all these things in the name of Yeshua Messiah. And Yahweh bless us all. Hallelujah.
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 All right. Well, I'm going to end this recording and we'll end the live stream. And Missy, we'll see you next time, okay?
Yes, thank you. You guys have a good night.
You too.
All right, you too. Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.